I have the Spectra Horn Quartet with me. We'll be talking with Carl, Todd, Bruce, and Denise. Carl, we'll start with you. You are familiar to Columbus audiences, certainly. You played some Mozart for us a few years back.
Right. I played Mozart Concerto and the Strauss Concerto in the Southern Theater with ProMusica. It's a fabulous place to play. We're delighted to be here this morning and also this week.
The sound a little better in the Southern Theater than it is in this little room.
Well, I think so, yeah. We'll find out.
I found out when I walked in here what it's like to be in one person too many in a room filled with horns. I walked in here and it kept pushing me back out. I'm going to ask probably a question you've been asked 1,000 times, because every time there is a horn soloist or a horn is featured prominently, the question comes up. And I know that the hand in the bell was originally because you didn't have the keys. Now you have keys. Why don't you take the hand out of the bell? Anybody? They're all pointing at you, Carl.
Yeah, I think we like it inside there. It's just so comforting to be inside the bell.
It's warm and moist and comfortable.
It actually does provide an acoustical thing for us. I mean, it keeps the pitch down, and it does help us play.
So how does it help? I mean, because I know the horn is a really treacherous instrument to play.
No, it is not.
There are so many things that. What was that?
No, it is not. We try not to think about that.
Yeah. You try not to think about it. The tightrope walk is enough without actually looking down and seeing the floor.
Well, Barry Tuckwell said, it's like driving a fast car on a slick road.
Oh man. Once you've lost it, huh?
Well, yeah, it's hard to get back on, but hopefully you don't crash in the side.
Well, tell us how the four of you got together. I mean, we've got Denise is in the back row, and how did you all wind up playing together as a quartet?
Well, Carl and I run a horn camp every year, and so we were together and we were talking about how much fun it would be to be in a quartet, because it's just a lot more fun when you have a couple more people. And so we were talking about people that we wanted to bring into the group, and Carl had played with both Bruce and Todd a number of years ago in the Honolulu Symphony. And so we started talking about them, and we thought it would be a really fun group to get together, and we have a lot of fun on top of playing some great music.
Well, yeah, and there are a lot of possibilities, a lot of great arrangements possible with this combination, and the sound is unique. I mean, you just really aren't going to get it anywhere else.
Yeah, the blend of four horns is quite unique. I mean, sometimes you hear it in the orchestra, but in a piece like the Schumann that we're doing this week, I mean, that's the ideal for horn quartet. I mean, you hear what the horn quartet can do, all the possibilities from the very highest note to the lowest note, all the range of characters that you can get to. There's great arrangements for us, but there's also new pieces being written for the horn quartet too. So
why was Schumann torturing horn players?
I don't think he was
really. I mean, he just launches you right into it.
Well, he does, but I think he was just exploring the possibilities of the new valve horn. I mean, it was pretty new at the time, and most composers didn't write for it because the players really didn't want to play it. They were still very comfortable playing the valveless horn, the natural horn. And this was one of the first pieces written for the valve horn by a major composer. Mm-hmm.
And it's, as I recall, after the piece was written, it was maybe about 50 years before it was actually performed, because it was considered unplayable.
Well, it was performed once at the premiere in Leipzig in 1850, and then for many years, 50 or 100 years, the story goes that it wasn't played for a long time. Again,
makes you wonder how that performance went, if it was that long before.
Yeah.
The wheels fell off of that one, I can tell you that right now. If each of you would give us a little idea of where you play. I mean, Carl, you're with Detroit still?
Yes, I'm still with the Detroit Symphony. It's my 16th season as principal. I started my career in Toledo, actually, just up I-75. I was with Toledo Symphony when I was going to school there at the University of Toledo. And then I was lucky enough to get a job in Honolulu, where I played for 13 years, and then moved to Jacksonville, Florida, and then Dallas, and then finally Detroit.
Boy. That's quite a weather change, if nothing else. I mean, it seems to me that Honolulu, you started out at the top, and then you started going, at least weather-wise, started going down. No, Detroit is one of the finest symphonies, in my estimation, in the world. And how about the rest of you?
I'm Bruce Ennis, and I teach horn at the Ohio State University School of Music. And I began my playing career with Todd and Carl out in Honolulu as well, as we mentioned earlier. And I went from there to teaching at Interlochen, Michigan. So I made about as big a climate change as you could make between those two. And then I was at Michigan for a few years, and then I won a position with the Houston Symphony, where I was for about a dozen years. And then my wife and I decided we wanted to come to Columbus, and we both were fortunate to get positions at the Ohio State University. She teaches bassoon, and we've loved being here ever since. And this is just a great reunion for me to get to play with, colleagues that I began my career with.
Yeah. Todd?
Well, my very first job was in the Charleston Symphony in Charleston, South Carolina, where I played for only 6 months, and then I was lucky enough to get the job in Honolulu, joining my friends.
There's a theme here.
Yes, yeah. And actually, Bruce and Carl and I all performed the concert shtick that we're doing this weekend with the chamber orchestra back in Honolulu almost 30 years ago. So it's truly a reunion for us. So I was in Honolulu for 7 years. I played in the Lyric Opera Orchestra in Chicago for 2 years, and have been in the St. Louis Symphony for 20 years now.
Okay. How about you, Denise?
So I started my career right here in Columbus. I played with the Columbus Symphony for 2 years.
Cool.
And then I moved on to Baltimore, where I played for 3 years. And then I was in Detroit with Carl for 6 years. And now I've been in the Philadelphia Orchestra this is my 7th season there.
And you just managed to get together as your schedules permit and play a little bit, playing a little bit. Tell me about your about this. You said you have a kind of a horn camp, for lack of a better way of put it, an opportunity to work with young musicians.
Right. It's called the Audition Mode Horn Seminar. It's basically for people who want to be professionals and older students, college kids and above, some young professionals. But it's about a week-long seminar dealing with how to get an orchestra job, basically. We do master classes and have mock auditions and lessons, teaching them what it's like to be a professional horn player.
Is there an aspect of this week where you really work with them on the business side of this? Because learning how to play the instrument is one aspect, but learning how to market yourself and how to be a professional when you're not playing has to be an issue too.
Yeah, we cover all aspects of this. We cover everything from resume building to how to negotiate contracts to how to run a website and all of that. So we cover all of the business side as well.
How does somebody get in touch with you all if they would like to get involved in this or learn a little bit more about it?
You can check out either our website at auditionmode.com, or you can go onto Facebook at Audition Mode and check us out there.
Are there any? We hear all of the usual horn pieces that everybody loves, the Schumann and the Mozart horn quartets, the Haydn. Are there pieces of music that you really love to play that you don't get to play very often? And are there pieces of music you can't stand that they keep asking you to come do?
Do you mean solo pieces or orchestra pieces? Both?
Well, maybe both, I think.
Yeah, actually, in the classical era and even the Baroque era, there was many horn concertos written. I mean, the audience really loved that instrument, bringing that outdoor instrument and taming it and bringing it inside. So there's many different pieces to play. Actually, one that I love to play that I really haven't got the chance yet is by Leopold Mozart, Mozart's father. It was written for horn quartet and strings, and also guns and barking dogs. It's a thing based on the hunt.
I notice you're wearing cowboy boots, so it's perfect.
Yeah. There's one of the solo pieces I love to play is by Punto, Giovanni Punto, who was a contemporary of Mozart, and he wrote 15 different horn concertos.
Wow.
But there are a lot of horn pieces out there that are fun to play that don't often get played.
Anything you try to avoid that you don't mind mentioning so other people hear it?
Well, some of the standard things in orchestra that you do over and over every year get a little bit tedious,
Yeah.
but when you get down to the performance, it's not. I mean, the rehearsal's a little bit tedious, but the performance, somebody out there has never heard the piece before. And it's such great music that you just love to play it, with the exception of some Tchaikovsky symphonies. For me, that's it. We did a Tchaikovsky festival last year in Detroit. We played all 6 symphonies in 3 weeks and recorded them. It gets a little tiring to play because those are very demanding symphonies, and it was a lot of music in a short time. And Tchaikovsky symphonies we play quite a bit, so that's probably one that, except for Tchaikovsky 5, the other symphonies I get kind of tired of.
Mm-hmm. Denise?
As far as solo pieces, I actually just went through a process that was new to me, but I'd commissioned a bunch of new solo pieces for the low register of the instrument with piano, because there are not a lot of solo pieces that actually use that that part of the instrument. So so I commissioned 4 new pieces for low horn and piano, and then I put it on my new CD, actually called So Low.
Cool.
Yeah, so
I did
it's,
notice that's where you're spending a lot of your time
that is
this
where I'm
morning.
spending yes, all of my time in the basement of the horn.
That's what makes a Schumann piece so great too. I mean, he just didn't, he wrote some of these screaming high notes too, but he wrote the whole register of the horn, and you can actually hear it since we're out front. You can hear all the spectra, the whole range of the horn from the very top to the very bottom. It's really inventive writing.
Wow. Any other comments before we move along to our last piece about favorites?
Well, I think everyone in the audience should come and hear our concerts this weekend.
I agree.
And hear the Schumann Concertstück. It's really a wonderful piece of music, in addition to being a great showpiece for the horn. And as Carl said, it shows off the entire spectra of horn colors.
Nicely
and
done.
Since we are the Spectra Horn Quartet, it seems like a good match.
Well, and that's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard this piece many, many times on this radio station, but hearing it and seeing it perform, particularly when you're talking about 4 horns, it really is an event not to be missed. It is Saturday night at 5:30, Sunday at 7 at the Southern Theater, promusicatcolumbus.org for complete details. The Spectra Horn Quartet will be there. David Densmeyer is conducting, and I hope you'll join us as well. You have one final piece that's really going to make the horns work just a little bit. This is by Autumn Khatchaturian on Classical 101.